Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review of the Expanse Season 4, Episode 6, Displacement. This video is part of a series of videos where I review episodes of the Expanse, so I have to start with a spoiler warning for the Expanse up to Season 4, Episode 6. If you have not seen up to this point, you will not want to watch this video, otherwise some things will be spoiled for you. However, if you have not seen beyond Season 4, Episode 6, not to worry, this video will not contain spoilers beyond Season 4, Episode 6. So, this episode has seemed like I'm saying this every time, but it is a good, solid episode that maintains the tension. In fact, it ramps the tension up in many ways. So we start the episode basically where we left off, with the Belters and the RCE guys just yelling at each other, and then Holden comes back and tells them they're all about to die, saying that there was that nuclear explosion that we saw in those little islands that we heard about on the other side of the planet, but it's causing like a shockwave and a tsunami that's just going to wipe their little settlement off the planet. So they come up with this brilliant plan to have the ships come by and evacuate everyone, and the Belters, in the face of certain death, still are trepidatious about evacuating. Which, I don't know. I mean, as I said, it makes sense for the characters, and they've been through a lot, and all that I've been talking about, but still, do we die by a tsunami, or do we leave? Let me just think about this for a second, because maybe I want the tsunami. But anyway, I mean, again, I buy it for the characters. They're that damn stubborn, but it's kind of dumb of them. But they do agree to leave, though, if Holden has to promise them. First, they ask him to speak to Avasarala directly, and he's like, I don't really have her ear. She doesn't really listen to me. I'll do what I can. And so he promises that, and Mercury sees this, and he's being all swarmy, and he's like, aha, you're a dickhead, you're going to help them come back, and because he's all about getting rid of them, so yeah, the situation is absolutely nuts. Even in the face of certain death, they still cannot forget their petty squabbles, which is absolutely interesting. So plan A is for Rossi to come down, evacuate everyone, but then so happens that all the ship's reactors die. The laws of physics just stop working, like Scotty always says, I cannot change the laws of physics. But too bad he's not a protomolecule, because that can change the laws of physics, apparently. And as soon as it does, they realize it's a protomolecule, because what have they known that is able to change the laws of physics? The protomolecule. So it's up to their own tricks. So they're fucked. And they can't evacuate them. So they come up with plan B, is to have Mercury send down his shuttle using just atomic thrusters, whatever that is, not fusion reactors, whatever. I'm not a science guy. But they send that down instead, because that's not affected. And Mercury's a dick about this, and saying, oh, well, if blah, 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 I'll only do what the Belters promise to leave and never come back, or some bullshit. Like, it's just a dickhead about everything. And Holden's like, alright, well, we have to do that then. And then when the shuttle is on its way down, it is destroyed. Apparently something in the atmosphere is not letting it land. Therefore, they have to go to plan C. So Wade comes up with a brilliant plan to just bunker down in the settlements and hope the storm blows over. And Amos, it's one of my favorite lines. Amos is like, well, plan C sounds like we all die, which is better. So Holden comes up with a better plan C, maybe even call it plan D, where they all go into the ancient structures because they've been there for, billions of years, a ridiculous amount of time, so surely they can withstand the water. So they all prepare to get into there. Now this is pretty interesting that we've gone so many episodes and still no Miller. I don't think we had any Miller since episode 2. Pretty sure we had some in episode 2, maybe even episode 1, but I think it was episode 2. So it's been a while, and Miller still hasn't shown up, which is really interesting. And apparently Holden has been alone. for some time. So Miller's choosing not to show up, and so yeah, that's really affecting things. And everyone, now that they know about Miller, they keep going to Holden like, oh, you have the magical man in your head. Can't he help us? And he's like, well, no, he's not appearing anymore. He's the one fucking everything's up for all I know. And Holden still has that sort of adversarial attitude towards Miller, and maybe that's part of the reason why he's not showing up. Maybe. I don't know. We'll just have to see about that. So they all go to evacuate, and Mercury, of course, is still being an asshole about it, because he always is, and saying, oh, we have to hoard our water and food, and if we run out, then fuck them, we're going to have to kill them, and be prepared to kill the Belters, they're not all going to survive, and blah, 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 while Holden's just too busy trying to keep everyone alive. And then the first shockwave come, which was an awesome scene. It was amazingly shot. They showed this in the trailers where Holden and Elvie were in their little compound when his shockwave comes, and the duck and a lot of people outside were killed by it. Like, that was a pretty intense scene. But then they go to evacuate in before the tsunami comes, and they're just able to close the door, close the door, put up the little thing to close the little hole that they crawled through, just in the nick of time. Like typical with movies, you gotta have that suspense. Right at the last second, Holden comes in, so a lot of water falls in. He just barely makes it. Oh, thank God Holden survived. Anyway, we also get the Bobby Draper storyline, which I was wrong, apparently. In my last video, I said that I thought that she was just working for that guy in order to undermine him. That appears not to be the case. It appears she's actually taking enjoyment out of her work. Like, we see the dude that her boss meets with, and she actually like corners this guy who's ready to shock him and beats the crap out of him, and she enjoys it. And then we see her later, and it's funny, we see her later with the shady characters they're dealing with, and she's just acting all normal, like, hi, I'm Bobby, and she's like, ugh, I don't care. And then later he's just being a total dickhead to her, just trying to be polite. And I really don't like this fucking this girlfriend character, whatever, who was her nephew's girlfriend. She's annoying. I don't like her. But anyway, Bobby has to go put on the suit, climb the tower, climb outside, and nearly dies. I mean, this stuff I'm only vaguely interested in it. Like, I don't think it's bad, but I'm not really that invested in this particular storyline at the moment. I think it's interesting overall, but they need to go somewhere with it. Seeing Bobby just climb at some tower just to pull off some job that I don't really care about, not that interested in, to be honest. So hopefully they'll pick up the pace eventually. Now, Avasarala is having to deal with her numbers are down, and she's being very upset, and she has to deal with the attack that happened and trying to find Marco Nars. And then I love the scene we get with Drummer and Ashford and on Medina Station, where the UN people come in and they're total dickheads, and it shows how strained the tension, because we saw how strained the tension is between the belt and the inners still from the belter side, like with people like Marco Naris and the other people who backed all his bullshit. But now we're seeing it from the other side, where these UN captains are obviously dickheads, like that one guy sort of sizing everything up, getting out his measuring tape and being like, oh, how much is this window? I'm going to have this dimension because this room's going to be mine. And it's obvious. Like, their tactics were so, like, despicable. I just found it laughable. I was just like, oh my god, these guys are ridiculous. Like, not in terms of like bad storytelling or anything, in terms of their if I was real life characters, these guys are assholes. But I like it. I think it's interesting for the story, and I really found that scene really interesting, and how I wanted German to just smack that guy when she was like, okay, the OPA has no objections to you sending probes in. He's like, I'm not asking your permission. Like, shut the fuck up, dickhead. Hopefully she'll be able to do that eventually. That's what I really want to see. Anyway, not much to say about this episode. I think that's about all I have to say. So I'll go ahead and give my rating for episode 6, Displacement, out of 10. I'm going to give it a 7. Very good. As I said, a good solid episode. Bobby's stuff, maybe I'm not that interested anymore, but it's still a good episode. Still has me invested. It's wrapping the tension up with the tsunami and that freaking shockwave dust storm was really awesome to see. And of course, we got the ships might fall out of the sky conundrum as well. So really wrecking the stakes here. Oh yeah, one more thing before I go that I forgot to talk about is Lucia and how her daughter called her and is pissed. And after hearing about what she did and the people she killed, and really doesn't want to talk to her anymore, which of course is a huge blow for her, which I thought was a really good character beat. And then later on we learned that Bacola, the ship that she's on, is going to fall out of orbit in 2 days, so it's the first one to go. They're all going to fall out of orbit, but Bacola is going to do it a lot sooner, and so her life is in danger. Raising the stakes, really good stuff. Anyway, that is it for my review of The Expanse Season 4, Episode 6. I shall be back shortly with my book-to-show comparison on this episode, and next week I will have my review for Episode 7, so be sure to check that out. Also check out my channel, as I do many more reviews and other shows like Star Trek and more, so be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. Thanks a lot for watching.